Alex Collier has been an extraterrestrial contactee for over 30 years. That's right, contactee. Many of you have urged me to have him on. Alex has been in contact with a human race from within the constellation of Andromeda, located in our galaxy. His experience has been both telepathic and physical. His relationship with the Andromedans has been based on trust and friendship. Alex's free will has never been violated. And his experience must, and this is emphasized, must not in any way be associated with abduction. The Andromedan perspective regarding Earth history, galactic history, our current social crisis, genetics, and other extraterrestrial races has been published in Nexus Magazine, Connecting Link, and Truth Seekers Magazine. Alex's first book, Defending Sacred Ground, is currently being distributed internationally and covers this information and more. Recently released information can be obtained from the Andromedan Paradigm website, and I would suggest to you that we have a link to that, so as you listen you might want to read. Alex's career background includes being a former U.S. Treasury officer and also running his own tax practice in Southern California. And while I have chewed up most of the half hour, unfortunately, we've got lots of time. This is radio. Here is Alex Collier. Alex, welcome.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
I'm just fine. Well, no, I'm not, Alex. You know, how can the Russians do this?
Oh, you know, Art, that's why we haven't had mass contact, because they're still looking for intelligent life on this planet.
I guess so.
You know, the Russians have never been a fan of solar energy, so I suspect that there's a lot more to this. My first inclination would be that there's so much UFO activity, extraterrestrials coming and going from the polar openings, primarily the North Pole, that they may be trying to do something to thwart that.
Well, certainly the North Pole would be primarily affected, all northern latitudes, and that's way up north. So that would take away the polar nighttime. And, of course, at the North Pole, it's roughly dark for half the year.
Yes, it is. And
they're going to end that. I mean, I just, it's so stupid. How could they possibly do this unilaterally? This is the kind of thing that the UN ought to be doing. We ought to take them to the damn World Court and sue them. I don't know what to do about this, but it's stupid.
Yeah, well, the UN, you know, that's a political issue, and the UN World Court is not something that's going to ever benefit us.
I know.
It takes its place.
No, I know.
So
I know nothing's going to benefit us. Not only that, but here we are sending $22 billion to the Russians to feed their people, and they're using money to end the nighttime with 100 satellites. Now, that's got to be very expensive.
You would think so. I mean, I would think it'd be a hell of a lot more money to put those things up than to pay for lights, you know, street lights. Siberia, where nobody lives.
Yeah, that's one of the...
You know.
You know, I think it probably has something to do with productivity. In other words, they think that they can have around-the-clock shifts doing all kinds of work, and productivity will double or something like that. I think they're out of their minds. I don't know what I'm going to do about this, Alex, but something. And you might be right. I have heard from a lot of sources, not just you, that there's an awful lot of comings and goings at the pole.
Oh, yeah.
That is true, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. It sure is. And, you know, we're about to come out of the age of denial, I should say. You know, there's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot going on. The bubble is about to burst. The conspiracy to keep all of us in the dark, to hide our genetic past, our ancient past, is about to come to an end. And, you know, I have tried for 10 years to educate people on a grassroots level about what's really been going on, at least what I've been taught.
All right, that's a great tease. See, I chewed up the half hour, so hold on. We'll get into the meat of all this when we come back in a moment. Alex Collier is my guest. And did you hear what he said? That all of this secrecy, all of this cover-up, is about to come to an end. I wonder if we can take it. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM. Alex, we better go back to the beginning. It began, I guess, for you, you say, in 1964. And a lot of people, when they hear an extraterrestrial contactee, you know, they roll their eyes and they go, oh, come on, somebody in touch with the Andromedans, oh, come on. So tell us how it happened.
Well, you know, it's interesting. People do that, but they're more apt to believe somebody was abducted than the fact that somebody would be a contactee and would want to know another race and would want to share information and so on and so forth. And it never ceases to amaze me just how short-sighted some people can be and predispositioned to have an opinion without having full knowledge of anything.
Well, you're right about that. People do embrace the whole abduction thing much faster. For example, Travis Walton and company, a very famous abduction case with lie detector tests and all the rest of it, and people believe that, and I'm not saying they should not necessarily, but when they encounter somebody like you who's been in contact with Andromedans, you claim now for how long?
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
Yes, sir.
And they're not willing to believe that. Many are not, anyway. But apparently many are, because so many people urged me to have you on. How did contact begin?
Well, we were on a family picnic up in Woodstock, Michigan, near a lake, and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was like a family reunion. And we went off to play hide and seek, and I took off in one particular direction, and I can remember lying down and throwing chestnuts out of the way, and or pine cones, I think it were, and lying down in the grass to hide. And the next thing I remember, it's night. It's 9 o'clock at night, and I woke up and I started walking back towards the picnic area, and there were a lot of family members still there. There were police cars or state trooper cars there, Michigan State Police cars.
Really?
And you know, my mother was the first to see me, and she came over and screamed and, you know, gave me a big hug and then whacked me.
Okay, no, wait a minute. Slow up here for a second. So you're saying, go through it again. You were in a field. You were lying down at about what time?
About 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. And the next thing you knew, it was what?
It was close to 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock at night?
Yes, sir.
So that's classic missing time.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, you said that in no way is this an abduction, but that sounds like an abduction. In other words, you were not exactly a volunteer at that point.
Well, maybe not the initial, but, you know, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish the rest.
Okay.
Okay. What occurred to me was I was brought on board of a ship. I woke up, I was lying on a table, and there were two beings standing next to me.
Right.
To my right was a very tall man with blue skin, with no hair, and to my left was a very short man, very, very old-looking, whose skin was very pale white.
Okay.
And Art, I had instant recognition of them. Instant recognition. I knew them. And there are two beings. The tall one, his name is Morane. If you were to take the tone of his symbol or holographic symbol, because they are a telepathic race. Morane has learned to speak English, to use his vocal cords. Theseus never did. He was strictly telepathic.
Okay, you're racing past this. I want to back you up. I mean, suddenly you're on a ship.
Yes, sir.
Describe, for those of us who have not been on ships that we know of yet, when you opened your eyes or you first had sight, what were your physical surroundings? Other than a table, are you in a room without windows? Are you in a curved room? Are you in a standard room with four walls? What are you in?
Okay. The room was circular, and I was on a table. I didn't know what the table looked like of course, at first. And I remember looking at these two beings, and they started telepathically talking to me, and I had instant recognition. The next thing Morine did was he took what looked like a yarmulke, except the middle of it was hollowed out, and he placed it on my head. And he helped me sit up on this table.